Are we live? I think we're live, people! We did it! Perfect! Let me turn my volume down a little bit. Sorry. There we go. Everybody, welcome to the RPG Video Games Open Chat. Sorry it took me so long. We had some technical difficulties, so please forgive me on that. Or as Brian would say, please forgive me. I am so sorry, people, but that it took me so long, but we got it. We got the stream going. So, okay. All right. Let me just make sure I'm live here. Yep, I'm definitely live. Perfect. It went through. Okay. If the stream is a little behind, nothing I can do about that, but we're live regardless. Anyway, how you all people doing? Sorry it's taken me so long. Been pretty much setting up a dual boot between Mac OS and Endeavor OS, and for the first time ever, folks, I'm streaming on my MacBook from Linux. Yeah, I got KDE Plasma going, and it's working wonderful. I am very impressed with this Linux distribution. Endeavor OS is perfect. I finally found the perfect distro for my Mac. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. Well, there will be more discussion about this dual boot in a future video, so keep a lookout for that. Anyway, I'm going to be starting inviting people in just a few minutes, but like usual, house cleaning. If you enjoy these live streams just as much as I do, then smash that like button, ring-a-ding that notification bell, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. I see we got Brian in the stream. Thank you, Brian. I do the best I can. Anyway, before I start inviting people, I want to make a few announcements real quick. So let me get on StreamYard, look at my schedule, and I will see what we have coming up. Okay. For the first announcement, I've been thinking about this, and I've come to a decision. The next EdoPro Duel Night is officially set for July 31st at 5 p.m. That's the set date for it. Yesterday was the Outdoors live stream. No. The day before yesterday was the Outdoors live stream. So if you missed the Outdoors live stream, feel free to check it out. The Slackware live Linux distribution, as well as Benny Boy's birthday, say happy birthday to him on that day, by the way, is July 16th at 3 p.m. I will be pretty much installing Slackware, and at the same time, I'll be teaching Benny Boy how to install it. So keep a lookout for that. Other than that, there is no announcements at this current time. I'm going to open up this room for us to get started. If you want to an email from yours truly for an invite, email me at ricky.clay@gmail.com, and I will personally send you an invite. Okay? So that's how we're going to be doing this. Let me get my Gmail up. Okay. All right. Let me get the room ready. Let me get the invite sent. Oh, there's going to be a rant, all right, Brian. There's going to be a rant. Okay, there's your invite. All right. I'll also check on Discord to let people know that we are live. While I wait for Brian, amongst a few others. All right. Okay, I think.
Ricky, Brian.
Oh,
Hey,
Benny boy, there you are.
I completely forgot about the stream tonight. I am sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean,
no biggie.
I was running late anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the beginning of the stream, Ben, but
Yeah.
I'm not streaming on Mac OS. I'm streaming on KDE Plasma and Endeavor OS right now.
Oh, wow.
On my MacBook. I finally got
Okay,
a
let me
dual
ask
boot
you
working.
this. How is it running?
It's working really good.
Nice.
Now, how's the screen look, by the way? Because I had a 2012 MacBook that ran Linux. The high DPI sucked.
The screen on my end is looking okay. There's not much
Same.
going on. This I am still working the kinks out of this, so it's going to take some time. I just got the dual boot finished this morning.
But
Uh,
it is working pretty good.
it is working pretty good. What I had to end up doing was I had to make a second EFI boot file
Mm.
in order to do a UEFI installation. This way my Mac UEFI boot file can be left alone in order to still boot in the Mac OS.
What did you have to do to work around that?
What I had to do was I had to pretty much separate my Linux partition by only 500 megabytes. This way I could use that 500 megabyte spare partition as another EFI boot.
Oh, okay. So you had to make a separate EFI folder for it to work.
Exactly. That's what I had to do. And surprisingly, Calamaris detected it.
That is impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, with this not, I am very well aware though that with this not being an Enterpro dual night, I'm not surprised at all that it's just going to most likely be the three of us since everybody is pretty much into Yu-Gi-Oh and everything else, and there's not very many people for RPG video games.
Right. Well, I have a couple that I can discuss. So.
Yeah. Anyway, before we get started in a few minutes, I just want to make a disclaimer. I think Brian knows about this. He knows what I'm about to say. There's going to be some. I'm not going to say. I'm trying to think.
Long story short, I'm going to be shooting my mouth off.
Yeah. So essentially, if it happens, I mean, don't blame him whatsoever. I mean,
there's going to be a bunch of harsh language, is what you're saying.
Just putting it mildly.
Well, here's the thing about harsh language. I mean, remember this is a family channel after all, so we got to keep the harsh words to a
minimum.
I'm going to give it my best shot.
Yeah. So if you need to replace some words with other words, just make up some words. Also, my hearing has been.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, so
let's. I'm gonna keep.
We'll do our best to keep it as clean as we can.
Yeah. And keep the volume down.
Exactly.
But if I
the volume on a decent level.
A few decimals, let me know.
Exactly.
If you need us to keep levels in a certain way, just tell us. Oh, Ricky, another. Speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh, my LOB box set is. I called simply on Lucky Store, and the woman answered, and she said it'll ship today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and my buddy Jordan is coming to my birthday party on Sunday, and I'm going to ask him to show up to hang out the night it comes. And if he does, whether he does or not, I will be doing an unboxing video of the box on my YouTube. So.
Yeah. Now, just letting you all know, like I said in the beginning, I don't know if you caught the announcement. I have scheduled the final Edo Pro Duel Night for July. It is on the 31st, 5 p.m. And this will be the very first Edo Pro Duel Night that I will be testing through Jitsi. Now, this is experimental for now, just so we can have an unlimited number of people, because I got some, I'm not going to say complaints, but I got some advice from some people that there needs to be a bigger room for people. So
yeah, we had that discussion last time.
And plus, with StreamYard having a 6 limit cap, I figured moving to Jitsi might be
so this is sort of a test run, so to speak.
Yeah, it's going to be a test run, and if it works out, it might be better for me to do this in the long run.
I'm not going to argue with that.
So we'll see what happens, and we'll see what we can come up with. I'm also going to be experimenting with another type of live streaming service called EVMux, which a buddy of ours, Turtle OS Today, aka Carmine, has been experimenting with here and there. So I'm gonna look into that. Google Meet has been coming from my mind.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, it's basically an upgraded Hangouts. You remember when we used to use Hangouts?
I was just going to say, why does that ring a bell with me? Because I think we used to do that in the past.
Yeah, it's pretty much an upgraded Hangouts, just a little bit more modern. I may do some testing with that. Anyway, it's going to be pretty much up in the air for at least for now of which streaming service I'm going to actually go with, because I'm going to be doing a little bit of hopping around.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So.
Anyway.
Yeah, and Ricky, I want to tell you the games I'm going to be talking about tonight are. Some of them are Star Wars based, some of them are, other games, and I know Brian's probably not going to be too familiar with these, but these are just what I could find, because this me joining was sort of a spur of the moment thing. So I'll be talking about some things that most people might know or may not know.
Exactly. Now, also, the Slackware Live installation is in 2 days at 3 p.m. It's officially set in stone. Cool. As for the August live Linux distribution, I have officially made a decision. Yeah. August 10th, 5 p.m., I'm going to be doing a live installation of Void Linux.
Void? Nice.
Essentially, it's not a distro that people look at very often. It's a little under the radar, so to speak. So I'm gonna give it my honest review and what I think about it.
Good idea.
Also, as far as what other events are in August, I don't know of as of yet, because my schedule tends to change at a rapid moment. So just keep a lookout for that. Anyway, I don't want to be wasting time here. The 5 minutes has officially expired, so we're going to get started. I have who's going first in chronological order here. So I'm going to go last. Ryan, you're up first, and then Benny Boy, you're going to be.
Oh boy,
I'm going second, huh?
Yeah. So all right, what I'm going to do?
Wrap yourselves in, everybody. This is going to take a while.
So essentially, what I'm gonna do, just to give Brian a little bit of room to think here, I'm gonna mute my microphone, but I'll still be able to hear the whole thing.
Same.
So Brian, whenever you're ready, break a leg.
Well, everyone, I've been into RPGs for a very, very long time, and I've got a very interesting collection. Some I played with my grandmother before she passed away. In fact, some she really enjoyed. In fact, we even helped each other out when we got stuck. So let me pull up the one game that got her into video games. That's right. I am not kidding. My grandmother on my mom's side played video games. And the one that got her into video games, and this is sort of controversial whether it's considered an RPG or not, is the original Legend of Zelda on the NES. Yeah, that's right. The original Legend of Zelda. Yeah, the one where you go into the 8 dungeons and the one where you go through Hyrule and you wait, am I on the correct wiki? Yes, I am. Okay, yeah. The one where I'll go through the labyrinths and you get the piece of the Triforce, you beat Ganon, rescue Princess Zelda, and then you go, if you want, you can go through the second quest, which is insanely hard, which I never did. And then we got to, and then into Adventure Link, which was even more challenging with sealing up the temples and what really annoyed us with that one was every time you got a game over, you had to start from the what was it called again? Oh man, what was it? Excuse me. It was I think it was like Hyrule Castle or something like that. But yeah. And because that one you had 3 lives and it was not pleasant. And I remember both my grandmother and I having to call Nintendo Power a lot for this one. And then we got to Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, which was in our opinion, one of the best Zelda games. Oh my gosh, that game was so much fun, traveling from the light to the dark world and back again. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Yeah. Oh gosh, that was so much fun. Trying to figure out the correct order for the crystals with the dark world. That was a bit tricky. Luckily, we had not just calling Nintendo Power for help, but we had the Link to the Past strategy guide. Oh man. But yeah. So we were able to find help for that with that. Next was Final Fantasy, which was on numerous systems. So we had the original Final Fantasy, which was great because you could decide on what class you wanted to have. You have red mage, white mage, black mage, fighter. Oh crap! Fighter. Let me scroll down because I've got the wikis right up in front of me. Fighter. I want to say a monk, a black belt, and I could be thinking of one of the other Final Fantasies, but I think that's some of the others. And then there was Final Fantasy, all the other ones, Final Fantasy 2, but and then oh gosh, yeah, pretty much the same classes in that one. Yeah. Oh god. then there was Final Fantasy 3 for the Super Nintendo, but that was actually Final Fantasy 6. And again, you can change your class. Final Fantasy 4. But there's 4, 5, and 6. But our top favorite was Final Fantasy 7 for the PlayStation, because that had 3 discs. That one was one of our top favorites. Oh my gosh. Oh, seeing 3 discs really blew us away. Oh, before I forget, before I go into the next one, there was also another Final Fantasy. Where the heck was it? Oh yeah, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. That one on the Super Nintendo was so interesting because it was only basically 2 party members, you and another party member, where you travel around, and it wasn't basically you travel around trying to save the world, and oh gosh, how to describe it? You weren't basically having random. Oh, there were no random battles in the overworld, just in the dungeons and things like that. But in the overworld, there was sort of like these. Oh god, what's the word I'm looking for? These, I guess you could say, tiles that had like groups of 10 enemies, and once you clear them out, you got experience, an item, or something like that. But then one of the ones that Nanny really enjoyed were Dragon Quest, or when it was originally Dragon Warrior. So, but yeah, so 1 through 5 or 1 through 4 was on the original NES. Yeah, oh my god. Playing the original Dragon Warrior was so much fun. And then Dragon Warrior 2 that came out in, let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, 1990. Yeah. And playing these are so nostalgia because I was born in 81 and I'm going to be turning 42 this year. And then there was Dragon Warrior 3. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so Dragon Warrior 3 came out in 92. This is in North America, by the way. And Dragon Warrior 4, Chapters of the Chosen. Yeah, basically, the Dragon Warrior games are you travel around, you battle on the line, come across different enemies, and you try to defeat the evil Dragon Lord, if memory serves me correctly. And then come around to Dragon Quest 8, Journey of the Cursed King, which I never played on the 3DS, but I did play it on the PS2, and that one was really fun. And that game was just insane because it was the first Dragon Warrior game that had voice acting. So you had to help break the spell over King and his daughter, who got turned into a horse and a toad or troll, something like that. But I never officially beat that game. So if they ever come to the PlayStation Store, I'm going to make sure to pick them up. And then there was, where is it? Oh, yeah. Dragon Quest 11. Echoes of the Elusive Age. I got them for the PS5. I have played that. I haven't beaten it, but I do intend to do that. Then, the Lufia games. Lufia and the Fortress of Doom. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, Lufia Fortress of Doom plays much like a traditional role-playing RPG. 2 characters, sprites, environment, player advance. Story travel, harsh dungeons, encountering monsters. Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah, this is another one that I had to call Nintendo. Ooh, interesting quirk in the battle system, reminiscent of the older RPGs such as the Dragon Quest games. I didn't realize that. But now that okay. Yeah, that's on the Super Nintendo. So yeah. And one thing I didn't like about this was the random battles were always surprised. You didn't get to see the enemies in the overworld, but this was another great RPG that both Nanny and I enjoyed. Then we get to Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. This one, you did see the enemies in the overworld, so you were able to avoid them if you want. And the main character and one of his companions actually get married and have a son. I am not kidding. That actually does happen later on. So, and this was another great game I enjoyed. Oh my gosh. If I can ever find a way to replay this without having to get a Super Nintendo, I will be thrilled. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Characters walk around the world, map, enter dungeons. Yeah. And this is another one I had to call Nintendo Power Battle because there's some puzzles that really confuse me. One example that comes to mind is I had to turn a triangle upside down by moving 3 stones. That really just puzzled me to no end. And there were some others, such as I had to cut the. I had to use a fire arrow to destroy continuously growing grass in order to make the door open, and with only moving a single space, or it was something like that. And I could not figure out how to do that, so I had to call Nintendo Power for that. Oh boy. Oh, there's a few. Oh god, the one game that Nanny loved the most for the regular Nintendo, Crystalis. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Crystalis, it's an action RPG, and you get the let me scroll down to the synopsis. Crystalis takes place in a post-apocalyptic world in 2097, 100 years after 1997, October 1st. The end day, when a global thermonuclear war began that reversed civilization to a primitive medieval existence. Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. And you have to find 4 swords and crystals of, what are the elements again? I believe they're fire, wind, thunder. Oh yeah. Yeah. Just with the sword of wind, you gotta find swords of wind, fire, water, and thunder. And you gotta find stones of those same elements. And then you combine them all to form the Crystalis sword. And man, oh gosh, this game was so much fun. And then there's Breath of Fire, or as we call the acronym, BOF. The story commonly involves an adventurer named Ryu, spelled Ryu, who can shapeshift into different types of dragons, which to me is unbelievable. Over the course of his journey, he befriends Nina, a girl with wings. At its interception, Breath of Fire took place in medieval fantasy style science fiction world, following the mainstream such as Japanese role-playing games. Series began the original anime style artwork, later Western release. Wow, I guess I forgot about that. Oh gosh, yeah. And then there's Breath of Fire 2, which is similar to the original Breath of Fire. And then, oh my gosh, Chrono Trigger. If they remake this, oh my gosh, I will lose my mind. Because the people who made this oh my god, Akira Toriyama, creator, designer of Dragon Quest, and author of Dragon Ball. Oh, I can see it. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not gonna try to pronounce some of the other names because I'm gonna butcher them. Because I am not good at pronouncing Japanese names. But yeah, with Chrono Trigger, you travel around to the past or the present, and you get different party members, and you learn different dual techs and things like that. Oh my gosh, this Chrono Trigger was another game that Nanny loved. Oh my gosh. Okay. And now let's talk about. No. Okay. Let's talk about a game that just recently got a remake that I really loved. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. When I first played this game, I was engrossed in it, and it was so beautiful. Again, another game I called Nintendo Power about. It was so good. When I found out that Bowser had to team up with Mario, I was floored. I was not expecting that. And oh my gosh, it was so good. The only thing that bummed me out was that the level cap was 30. I wish that you could go higher than 30. Let's hope in the remake I'm pretty sure it is, since it's a 1-to-1 remake, but let's hope that maybe, just maybe, they give you a level cap that's higher than 30. But Super Mario RPG, chef's kiss, because there were some great Easter eggs in there. And one thing that I liked when you used your specials, for every character minus Gino, if you look closely, it shows a suit, a card suit. So, for example, when Mario used his, it was a spade. Bowser, it was a diamond. Peach, it was a heart. And Mallow, it was a club. It took me a while to notice that, but that's pretty sweet. I don't know if they're going to do that in the remake, but I hope so. If they do, great. If not, oh well. And now, let's wait a minute. Where is it? Okay. No. Where is it? No, not you. Okay. Got. Okay. Where? Okay. I know I'm. Okay. You're not what I want. You're not what I want. Okay, I'm saving you for later. I got you. Okay, I'll read you in a moment. All right. Okay, I'll just look. Here we go. Another one that I really loved. Legend of Legaia, which I hope comes to the PSN store. Legend of Legaia. This game I played non-stop. Oh my gosh. And I did a let's play of this, but oh my gosh. I wish it was still up on my channel, but it's if this comes to the PSN store, I will replay this to no end. Basically, what this one is about is you are trying to save the world with your raw Siru, which are basically spirits, I guess you could say, named Meta, Terra, and Ozma, and you're in control of 3 characters named Vaughn, Noah, and Gala, but you can change their names as long as it's let me think. I believe the character limit is 8. Again, I'm just guessing on this. But oh my gosh, these games but the main story, the main plot of this is you're trying to save the world from magical creatures called Seru, and Vaughn, Noah, and Gala can acquire the Seru with their raw Seru, meaning Mediterranean Ozma, to get stronger and repopulate and revive. There we go. Yeah, revive the Genesis trees and remove the mist in the world. And oh my gosh, this game, it is again. This is one of the games that, in my opinion, is chef's kiss. You definitely need to give this game a try if you can get a hold of it. And also, the sequel, Legaia 2 Dual Saga. It is similar to Legaia 2, but Legaia 2, what am I saying? It's similar to the Legend of Legaia, but oh man, it is way different because in the way you attack in Legaia, you move things called arts. So you use the directional paths up, down, left, right, and you get things, and you use art points. Or hang on, let me get my training of thought here. Yeah, you get art points by using a thing called spirit, and you yeah, that's the best way I can describe it, at least for now. And then you use your arts. I'm just going to use Vaughn as an example. You use, depending on how many art points you have, you can combine into different arts. I don't know the combination offhand, but you can combine Tornado Flame, and then whatever that started with, you can combine that into Power Punch, into Fire Blow, and so forth. So you can do the same thing in Legaia 2, but what's really great is with that, you can use your arts to get art points instead of just using your moves to spend art points. So I'll just use the main character, Lang, as an example. You can use Shadow Split to go into Roaring Fang, to go into Shadow Split again, then to go into Sleeping Dragon. That is if you have not just enough art points, but enough art blocks. But with Legaia 2, you have to get the Aqua Lift, the Aero Lift, and the Pyro Lift. Not in that order, but still. And you have to save the world from the... Oh, gosh, what's the best way to describe it? I guess you could say the end of darkness or something like that. But now let's move on to the Tales series. So let's go with the one that got me started in the Tales series, Tales of Symphonia. And also, I apologize if I miss any important details because I haven't played some of these games in I don't know how long, even though I am looking at the wiki itself. I'm just giving a brief synopsis. So I apologize in advance. Yeah, so with Tales of Symphonia, you're in the village of Silverant, and world the decline due to the depletion of. I know some people say mana, but I've been saying mana ever since I was little, so I'm pronouncing it mana. So again, I apologize in advance. The force of life, magic, to 4,000 year prior to a war waged with evil force of the Desians. Let's see, mythos. Well, it's Goddess Martel due to Silverhunt's weakness in mana, and Desians have remerged and are terrorizing humanity, so they can be maximizing to help themselves out. Again, I can't help myself. Conducting biological experiments on abducted humans in facilities known as human ranches, which further consumes mana. During the time, humanity puts his hopes onto descending Martel's angels, the chosen, who must undertake pilgrimage, awaken the summoned spirits, who protect Silverant. And then later on, Lloyd and all of his friends, Genus's sister Reen, the chosen, Colette, and everyone else go to Tefeala to try and figure out what's going on. And they have to figure out, and then they try to get everything back to normal, which is easier said than done. So then, after Tales of Symphonia, I played Tales of Legendia, which in that one, let me just scroll down to the plot. Tales of Legendia is set in a world covered mostly in water, with all the events of the game taking place aboard a massive countryside ship called the Legacy, remnant of high advanced civilization, population divided in two groups. The Orions, which are people of the land, and the Farans, people of the sea. Again, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing those right, so I apologize in advance. And then a race of skin light hair people with the ability to live underwater. The tensions between them serve as the backdrop to the game's plot. In addition, a select portion of the population are known as errands, people born with the ability to use special powers known as eras, which are divided into two groups: crystal, which include casting magic spells, and iron, which resolve around physical abilities. Okay. Okay. Right. And let's see. I did play Tales of the Abyss, but I wasn't a big fan of that one. Tales of Vesperia. This one was good. Okay. Tales of Vesperia, an action RPG set in a fantasy world featuring three-dimensional environments and characters. Game split into two types on the field map. Main character navigates scale, compass, a mini map, towns. Basically, that's when you've got to find. Let's see here. Oh crap! I just lost my place. Here it is. Compass, mini map. This one. Towns, other locations, and enemy icons. Striking enemy. This is another one where you can see the enemies in the overworld, and you've got to locate certain things and do certain tasks in the game in order to proceed in the game. After that, what was the next one I did? Tales of Zestiria. Oh, yes! This is one I really loved. Oh, man. Okay. This is the 15th main entry in the Tales series, developed by Bandai Namco. Oh, yeah. Zestiria is an action RPG. It's a fantasy world with three-dimensional characters on a scale with areas around them. The game's main world employs open world layout. In contrast to previous entries in the series, skits, extra conversations between the characters can be either dramatic or comical. Also return their full body representation of characters and I've lost my train. Representative of characters is carried over from Tales of Graces. As in Tales of Zillia, they are fully voiced. And I never played either one of those two, so that's why I didn't mention them just a little bit ago. During the exploration of the field areas between locations, and while a specific Seraph character are assigned, Seraph is sort of like, let's see, how's the best way? Sort of like a comrade. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. The player can execute special commands. They are slicing through minor obstacles. All characters smash through large obstacles and temporarily shielding themselves from enemies, which is what Mikleo can do. Ignite special lights around dungeons, which is what Lila's specialty is, or teleporting across gaps, which is what Dezel is able to do, or Zavid when you get him. So yeah, so that one is really good. Oh, Tales of Berseria. This one is a bit, oh boy. Oh gosh. Just a heads up, this one is a bit gruesome. And just giving you all a heads up. When she was a child, Velvet Crow and her young brother Laphicet were saved by her brother-in-law Artorias when a Scarlet Night happened and demons attacked their village. Velvet's pregnant older sister Cecilia was killed during the event known as the Opening. 7 years later, Velvet takes care of her sick brother with Artorias. Scarlet Knight returns, and the entire village succumbs to the demon blight. When Velvet finds Artorias, she sees him sacrifice her brother as part of the ritual known as the Advent. Artorias attempts to use her brother for the Advent as well. She fights back, and the demon bite possesses her arm, mutating it. It turns it into a demon called a Therian with the ability to absorb demons. In the rage, she slaughters the nearby demons before passing out. She awakens in a prison for demons on the island of Titania, swearing to kill Artorias and avenge her brother's murder. Group of beings known as Malachim, who were previously only visible to resident individuals, become visible to most people of the world after the event. Over the next 3 years, Artorias forms the Abbey to bring peace to the Holy Midland Empire, becoming the Abbey's shepherd and seen as the savior by the people for establishing the exorcists using the Malachim. So, yeah, this one gets a bit dark. Just giving you a heads up if you plan to look into this one. And oh boy, Velvet goes berserk. Just a heads up. And now for the latest one in the Tales series, Tales of Arise, which I need to get back to at some point. Okay. All right, now I might butcher some of these names because I haven't played Arise in a while, so I might not remember how these are pronounced. The realm of Calagia, masked Danon slave with no memories of his past, nicknamed Iron Mask, gets himself involved with the Crimson Crows when they rescue a Regan girl called Shion. Amorous Daimar, whom he finds familiar from in prison. Shion is afflicted with a curse known as Thorns and hurts anyone who touches her. While evading their pursuers, the slave manages to pull a blazing sword from his master core in Shion's possession and uses it to repel the reinforces, as only Iron Mask can wield the sword due to his lack of pain, or lack of sense of pain. Man, whew, I really read that wrong. He and Shion form an alliance to take down the Five Lords and gather the other Master Cores they possess with help from the Crimson Crows. The pair defeated the Calagia's Lord Balsef. In occasion, the slave's mask partially breaks and he remembers his name, Alphen. After liberating Calagia, Alphen, Shion, and the Crimson Crow's leader, Zephyr, depart to the realm of Cisladia, guided by Rinwell, a mage and member of the Silver Swords. Once arriving there, Zephyr is captured by agents serving the local Ganabelt Valkyris, but by Zephyr's son Law, having a change of heart. Once his father is sentenced to public execution, Law assists Alphen and the others in an attempt to rescue Zephyr, who ends up being killed by Ganabelt himself. Law joins Alphen, Shion, and Rinwell to avenge his father, and the four confront and kill Ganabelt. Ugh. Yeah, this one's not as dark as Berseria, but it's interesting. All right. And now, the Trails of Cold Steel series. Okay. All right. The game's plot is centered around Rean Schwarzer and his fellows of Class 7 at Thor's Military Academy, a newly formed class composed of both Erebonian nobles and commoners, and only class at the academy that does not segregate based on social class, and consists of Alyssa Reinford, daughter of the chairman of the engineering company, Elliot Craig, the son of famous commander and Imperial Army, Laura S. Arcade, the daughter of a renowned warrior and noble, Machias Regnant, the son of the imperial governor, Eustace Alberea, the heir of one of the four great houses, Emma Milstein, Fee Clausel, former member of a Jaeger group called Zephyr, and Gaius Warzel from the Nord Highlands, later joined by Crow Armbrust, a second year who joins Class 7 for not attending enough classes for graduation, and Milliam Orion, a member of the Imperial Army's Intelligence Division, instructed by Sarah Valentine, a member of the Bracer Guild. Yeah, so basically Thor's Military Academy has classes in 3 jackets: red, white, and green. Basically, to me, this has Dual Academy written all over it. And during their first year at Thor's, they go to the old schoolhouse, which every time they visit gets a new floor to explore every time, and each floor gets more and more mysterious, and they get field exercises to complete. And during their first time at the old schoolhouse, during their, I guess you could say, their orienteering, Sarah opens a trap door. Reen goes to rescue Alyssa, and let's just say his face ends up someplace really, really comfy, if you catch my drift. But yeah, this game you cannot play with a straight face. Oh my God, you're too busy laughing. Oh gosh. And some of the dialogue when they go on field studies, oh my gosh. It is too hysterical. All right. That's it for Cold Steel 1. Let's go on to Cold Steel 2. All right, Cold Steel 2. Okay. Beginning 1 month after the original Cold Steel games, this game events. Oh, come on. Thank you. Okay, beginning 1 month after the original Trails of Cold Steel, this game events takes place largely concurrently with the final chapter of Tales of Azure, which I've never played. Reen Schwarzer wakes up from a 1 month coma. Wow. 1 month coma he fell into after unwillingly escaping from Trista at the end of the previous game. He makes it to his hometown of Ymir with the assistance of a bracer Tovel Ronderor, but Reen quickly finds him and his loved ones caught in the crossfire of war. Yeah. So Reen has got... All right, let me read a little bit more of the plot, and then I'll give you my opinion. Reen's opponents are the Noble Alliance, which has partnered with the Imperial Liberation Front from the previous game, as well as Ouroboros, a recurring group of antagonists in the Trail series. Students from Thor's Military Academy, including those from Class 7, have been scattered across the country. So Reen resolves to find his classmates to put an end to the Civil War and save those he cares about. Yeah, so basically with Cold Steel 2, Reen has to go and find members of Class 7 and try to find out what the heck happened after everything from the first game. And in the first game, he finds out that he was he's an awakener, and he awakens he awakens a knight called Valamar, and he gets to pilot it. And let's just say Valimar, he is super OP. Oh man. So yeah. And later, and we find out that Reen, if something gets Reen super ticked off, he goes berserk. And we don't know what that is until it's either later on in Cold Steel 2 or Cold Steel 3. I forget which. But anyway, let's go to Cold Steel 3. Okay, this game is a direct sequel to the prior two Cold Steel games. Picking up 1 year after the events of Cold Steel 2 and several months after the Northern War between the Imperial Army of Erebonia and Northern Jaegers of Northumbria, which result in the annexing of Northumbria. The story is centered around Reen Schwarzer, now an instructor at Thor's Military Academy branch campus, as well as the students of the new Class 7 and the rest of his classmates from the prior two entries, exploring subjects such as the mysterious circumstances of Reen's adoption by the Schwarzer family and what his classmates have been up to since the events of the prior games. The new Class 7 of Una Crawford, an exchange student from Crossbelt, Kurt Vander, a member of the Vander family, formerly guarding the royal family, Altina Orion, a member of the intelligence division and younger sister to Milliam Orion, and later joined by Ash Carbine from Raquel, whom later revealed to be an orphan of Hamal, and Muse Egret, a noble young lady who is actually an heir of the House Cayenne. While teaching his students, Reen is ordered by the imperial government to resolve numerous conflicts arising all across Erebonia, mainly caused by Ouroboros, who are trying to retake the phantasmal blaze plan stolen from them by Chancellor Osborne in the previous game's finale. As part of the campus field exercises, assisted by the former classmates of the old Class 7, on their missions, they learned that Rutger Clausel, the Jaeger King and Feast foster father, who was believed to be dead, and Arnold, the Steel Maiden, and Anguis of Ouroboros, who is actually Leanne Sandlot, an Ereborian historical figure, are actually alive, and the wakers of two divine knights, Zector and Aragon, respectively. They also learn more about the origins of the divine knights, that they are the fragments of the Great One, a being created when the septarians of fire and earth fused into one after the intense battle between the two. The kin of fire and kin of earth work together to contain the unstable Great One, being given birth to the seven divine knights, but they were unable to contain its curse, which influenced Erebonia for many centuries, making the people of the empire become greedy and violent, and leading to tragedies such as the attack of the Dark Dragon, the Dark Ages, and War of the Lions, the Hamel tragedy, the 100 Days War with Liberal, the annexation of Crossbell, and the Northern War. The group later changed their names, the Kin of Fire becoming the Witches of the Hexton clan, with Emma being one of them, and the Kin of Earth becoming the Gnomes, and the latter eventually cutting ties with the former. So yeah, this one is really intense because in part 2, Crow dies, and in this one, apparently somehow he's alive, and we don't know how he gets revived until part 4. And in this one, at the end, Reen goes berserk, and right before the credits go, I see the worst the three most dreaded words ever: to be continued, and that just really did not set well with me. And oh my gosh, it was not pretty at all. So I was just, it did not sit well. So I had to get to Cold Steel 4 ASAP. So speaking of which, let's go to Cold Steel 4, and everyone be prepared. This is where things are going to get ugly. This game is set 2 weeks after the conclusion of Cold Steel 3. Chancellor Gilead Osborne has taken control of the Erebonian Empire and intends to start a war with Erebonian's neighboring country, the Calvard Republic. Meanwhile, Class 7 flees to Erin, a secret village of witches, where they form a plan to rescue Reen Schwarzer, who was captured by Osborne, and after losing control of his spirit unification power that the previous game's climax, during their rescue mission, they learned that Rufus Alberea, the Imperial Governor of Crossbell and primary member of Osborne's Ironblood, has awakened the seventh and final Divine Knight, El Prado. After rescuing Reen, Class 7 is joined by allies from within and outside of the Empire to stop the Great War. During the course of the story, Class 7, while revolving numerous incidents across Western Erebonia caused by either political issues and the great twilight of Erebonia of Ouroboros' planning, uncovers the mysterious surrounding the Divine Knights, their awakeners, and the dark history of the Empire. After the Ebon Knight Ishmelga was corrupted by humanity's malice, it became an evil sentient being manipulated by the gnomes and spread the curse to control humanity, causing many tragedies and forcing the reincarnated Drekel's Gilead Osborne to become its awakener in return of saving his son Reen. Since then, Osborne has been planning to destroy the Great One and its curse. Class 7 eventually faces Osborne and Ishmelga and emerges victorious. So yeah, when I found out that Reen was Osborne's son, and when I found out that he had to leave everyone to get rid of the curse, oh my gosh, I was crying like a baby. My eyes were bawling. I was crying so much, my eyes felt like they were on fire, and I was pretty much like, Reen, what in the world are you doing? You cannot leave every one of Class 7, especially Alyssa, Laura, Emma, and Fee, like this. What in the world are you doing? Are you crazy? What? No, no, no. Reen, what? What? No, 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 no. No way, Reen. No, no. Our Reen, no, no way. Are you what? What? No, no way. No, 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 Reen, no, Reen. What? is wrong with you, dude? No, 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 no way, no. Oh my God, no, what? No, oh my God, no, no way, no way. This cannot be happening. This is not happening. He's not leaving all of class 7 and all of his future wives. No, no way. I am not seeing this. Am I? No, 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 no way, no way, uh, no, no, no. Oh God. So yeah, that is why I am not a fan of the ending of Cold Steel, Trails of Cold Steel 4. And all the bonding events with in Cold Steel 4, they just tug at your heartstrings no matter which character, which of the female characters it is. But oh my god. But if you play Trails of Cold Steel 4, get ready to have a box of tissues handy because you will bawl your eyes out. So I am giving you a fair warning. If you play Trails of Cold Steel 4, be prepared to bawl your eyes out at the ending, no matter if it's the regular or the true ending. Be prepared to cry your eyes out. Oh man. Oh gosh. And when I'm telling you, I was literally bawling like a baby. It took me, I was still in shock the day after I beat it to realize what happened. Holy cow. Oh boy. Ugh. Well, anyway, that's it for my list. Oh boy.
I will say, Brian, that was really good. Real good. Really good. Very good. Very good rant, too.
And you could vouch for me about the ending.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You're the one that told you. Yeah, you told me about that ending as soon as it happened a couple weeks ago. No.
I mean that's pretty much the abridged version.
Yeah, essentially, yes. But anywho, Benny Boy,
Would you say this is what I need now?
you might,
I think so, Brian. You're always bringing the comedy for us.
yeah, you might want to have a coffee break right now.
All right. Same
Replenish
three
that energy,
options as
bud.
before. Dark magic, cream puff, or cookie dough.
I,
And
I,
mine may be long, mine may be not. I don't
that's
know.
okay, Ben. That's okay. For when it comes to your K cup, Brian, go with cookie dough.
Again, if you don't get that reference, you are not a fan of The Simpsons.
I knew where that came from.
Yeah, I'm speaking to our audience.
Exactly. All
Hold
right.
on, guys. Headphones.
That's okay. All right. You get ready,
All right.
Ben. I'm gonna mute up here, so you start when you're ready.
Yeah. I put this on for noise cancellation, by the way.
That's not a problem. All right. I'm gonna mute up here, Ben. The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, I have music playing in my browser. That's why I put these on. Okay. Brian, you might want to mute yourself too so we don't feedback or nothing. Just saying. All right. First game of my talk is Star Wars. Hence, big Star Wars fan here. Since I can even remember. Um, uh, Stupid Discord. All right, so the first game will be Knights of the Old Republic, which is a series of games. So this one might be a little long. I'm not used to openly talking like this, folks. So you'll have to bear with me a little bit. Let me jump this. So getting into my talk here, KOTOR, also known as Knights of the Republic, like I said, was first released in 2003 by BioWare and Lucas Arts, and it's based on the Wizards of the Coast, very early D20 Dungeons and Dragons kind of game, very old school kind of game, you might say. You don't see a lot of these games these days. It's heavily story driven, where your class choices make or drive a lot of the game, just, very, very story driven. And it takes place several thousand years before the original movies, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all that kind of thing. It takes place around the center of this group of Jedi, or former Jedi turned Sith Lords, Darth Malak and Darth Revan. And Malak has unleashed a Sith armada against the Republic. Many Jedi, scattered and left vulnerable by Malak, die in battle while their others swear loyalty and allegiance to him. Anyway, so it says the game opens with the player's character awakening aboard a doomed Republic ship with no recollection of their past. Basically, their mind got wiped, kind of thing. After escaping the ship and crash landing on Terrace, the player gradually gathers companions and pieces together their past while attempting to stop Malak and his forces. To accomplish this, the character and the companions search for star maps that together reveal the location of the Star Forge, an ancient space station that creates massive amounts of material for Malak. So, yeah, it's a very, like I said, it's very story driven, a lot of plot twists and things. It's a very involved, very long game. I want to say it's total between it and its uh, successor, KOTOR 2. Altogether, you're spending about 60 hours at minimum between both games. So, yeah, they're both about 60 hours each. If you do skip the side quests, things like that, but I honestly, for your first playthrough especially, I do not recommend skipping the side quests and things, because if you do, you are missing out on a lot of content and a lot of potential romances with your companions, things like that. So I highly suggest doing all the quests, all the etc., and not skipping through the dialogue and trying to speedrun this, because if you do, like I said, it's gonna kill the immersion and really kill the heck out of the game for you. So I highly recommend doing it the traditional way, no mods, especially on the Xbox version or PC. And yeah, it's just it's not really recommended, especially with new games. Like if you're new to the game, don't do that. And also, around the same genre of game is Jade Empire, another one that I have spent hours upon hours on, played through several times. It takes place in a very Asian, Middle Eastern kung fu kind of setting, and it's very fun, especially if you've never played it before. And it doesn't have as many mods for it, but it's uh, it's another very story-driven role play kind of setting, and one that's very near and dear to my heart. And like I said, I highly recommend picking it up. Same with KOTOR; they're pretty cheap nowadays, around the $10 to under $10 range on Steam. Yeah, so that's just kind of some of the games that I wanted to share with you guys tonight. And I might do some videos of these on my channel. I might not, but anyway, we'll just kind of shoot the breeze here, I guess, until Ricky comes back. So, Brian, what did you think of my talk there?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was trying to condense it, not
Mhm.
drag on too much. But yeah, those are just some of the games that I kind of grew up with. The Mass Effects, the KOTORs, the etc.
Yeah, but based on my rank, you can see why I said that Cold Steel 4 was a real tearjerker.
Yeah. I mean, we all grew up with these older games. They just kind of never really fade away. They kind of just like.
Yeah, well, I didn't say this in the video, but I'll say it now. I was just browsing the PSN store and I saw these in the RPG section. I read the description for the first one. And I was like, ooh, this looks interesting. Let me give it a try. And I got hooked. So I figured let me get 2 through 4 when I get a chance.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, these games that you and I have been talking about have been with us since our childhood. So,
Exactly.
so it's
Especially
one
the
of those
ones that
things
I
where,
played with Nanny.
as many times as you play through them, they just never really go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And for me, KOTOR has been one of those games where I could never play it enough, and I would just that's why I'm heavily hyped if the KOTOR remake eventually releases, because I want to see it in a more modern light. I don't want to keep playing the same style of game till I die.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like to; it's just the fact that I want to see it in a more modern setting. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I am. As I said with the Mario RPG remake, I hope they increase it so it's not so that level 30 isn't the level cap.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people in the Star Wars community have been excited for this KOTOR remake that's currently in. Still, after 2 years, still very, very early development. They've had a lot of, troubles getting past that with, studio problems, things like that. So it's very hard to get it off the ground, but they are trying.
Exactly.
So, hey, Ricky, I just finished up. Yeah.
What's the matter, Marmal?
Hey, so
Oh,
we were just shooting the breeze while you were AFK. So
oh, that's okay. That's
yeah, I was just telling folks about Knights of the Republic, both of them, and Jade Empire. So I gave them a rough background on that.
mm-hmm.
That's really all I had for tonight.
Come here. Come here.
Well, when it comes to me,
Oh,
I already knew what I was going to talk about tonight, so I'm just going to get it out of the way right now. Okay, folks, my favorite RPG series of all time, 100% is Pokemon. So first Pokemon game I ever got, Pokemon Red, got it in 1998. But the way I got the game was very interesting. I did not know at the time that I was going to be not only getting this game, but a teal blue Game Boy Color at the same time for my birthday back in 1998. So essentially, on my way to Disney World, which for those who don't know, I mean, Disney World is back then was really good. So on my way there, my mother and my father surprised me for my birthday a teal blue Game Boy Color, and along with it, Pokemon Red. The first 5 minutes I started playing Pokemon Red, I was hooked to Pokemon permanently. My favorite funny thing about Pokemon Red is I always like talking to the coffee guy because he needed his coffee. Second thing that I really liked was basically just how the inventory system looked back then, how many Pokemon you could catch, make your party the way you want it. I never fully beat the game, but I got very close. But a little while after that, I played a tiny bit of Blue, but didn't get very far. Then I played Pokemon Gold for a little bit, and I beat that. Then I played Crystal. I beat that. Gold and Crystal to me was really good because there was a lot of massive changes implemented in those games. Then we get to Gen 3. One of my favorite Pokemon generations, and for very good reason, because of two iconic people, and Brian knows where I'm going with this. Maxie from Team Magma and Archie. The first time I saw those two, I really liked how these characters' stories were panned out. I mean, if you put them both together, they're both identical in many different ways. Um, but another thing about them is that they pretty much in all aspects, they pretty much had some of the same Pokemon, but with a few key different Pokemon between their teams. Um, Maxie had Canerupt, while Archie had a Sharpedo. And Sharpedo back then was a really good water type. In my opinion, it's still one of the best water types in the game to this day because of how fast it is. But that's only a little small portion of why I like Ruby and Sapphire. The other reason why I like Ruby and Sapphire is I wouldn't know this until many years later. Many years later, that the game was a lot of people were making homebrew versions of the game. Like they would take the Ruby and Sapphire template and just make their own Pokemon game. And I've never played any of the Pokemon ROM hacks, how ROM hack games out there, except maybe like play around with a few of them, but never fully played through any of them. But to me, another aspect I liked about Ruby and Sapphire is it was the very first game that introduced the effort value system. And back then, the effort value system was not the same as it is now. It was completely different. The way back then you had to get effort values, folks, is you had to literally battle with your Pokemon in order to get those effort values. But what I didn't know back then, and I do now, is you had to battle specific Pokemon to get a certain effort value. That's how the system was then. But it's a lot different now than than what it was back then, though. But I'll explain when I get to it. Other than those minor changes, I mean, the Pokemon formula was still the same. That is until a series that I never got to play, at least until I got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the original Diamond Pearl and Platinum. I never played the original Gen 4. I unfortunately skipped out on it. I don't know why back then, but I did. But through some wonderful Let's Players that if you want to know who their names are, you can look them up yourself. But just know there's plenty of them that covered Diamond and Pearl. Um, it was a really good series back then. I mean, Team Play. I mean, Team. All I gotta say is Team Galactic. Out of every team I faced in Pokemon, they are the best team for none. They got the business smarts. They got the know-how. They have an agenda, and they have a lot of Pokemon at their disposal. That is what makes Team Galactic the best team in Pokemon compared to all the other teams. I mean, all the other teams have done the best they could with what they had, but Team Galactic, they were prepared from the beginning, in my opinion. I mean, but other than Team Galactic, I mean, there was a lot of story between Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. I mean, that covered Giratina, Arceus, Dialga, Palkia, Shaman, um, Darkrai, Celestia. The list goes on and on. I could get into all this, but I just don't have the time to do so. But there was a lot of story in these games, and I would recommend Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum to anybody who's getting into Pokemon in the very beginning as a template to the other games. Now, that was a little bit about Diamond, Pearl. Now we get to another series that I unfortunately didn't get to play, but I started playing a little bit recently, and that's White, Black 2, White 2. I first found out about these games like over a decade ago. I mean, I heard about them. They looked okay. For the first news about these games I got was from a YouTuber who's no longer on YouTube. Um, he was an old Pokemon YouTuber. I found out pretty much through him that these games were pretty good. And one interesting thing about the Black and White franchise is Cynthia and a few key Pokemon characters do make an appearance in the later installments, Black 2 and White 2. Now, as for Black and White, not so much. It's mainly the new characters for those games. But the one but out of every character in Black and White, the one that caught my interest the most was Lenora. I mean, her normal base team was really good. I mean, and I mean, she's a very interesting gym leader. I mean, I really like how Lenora's character was played out in the game. It was really good. Now, when it gets down to Team Plasma, I'm gonna have to rant on this for a few minutes, so please forgive me. Um, Team Plasma, in my opinion, is the worst team in Pokemon history. I mean, it's like, and I think this will be the first time that the boys ever heard me say this. It's like you took a monarchy and combined it with a Pokemon team. That's when you get Team Plasma. I mean, if you don't believe me, look at their outfits. It looks like the modern times crossed with the Middle Ages. And if you look at Getsis, you could say that he acted like an emperor. And if you look at N, which to this very day I wish I knew what his full name was, but unfortunately we may never get that opportunity because the Pokemon Company won't give that type of information up. But N, he is pretty much the king of the group, the king of Team Plasma, and he's a very good Pokemon trainer. Getsis is really good. I mean, those are the only two good things coming out of Team Plasma was Getsis and In. Other than that, the whole team is sucks. Other than that, Black White, Black 22 were really good. Professor Juniper, I will say, is awesome. I mean, the very first female professor in the Pokemon franchise, and all I gotta say is props to you, Game Freak, for making one of the most awesome professors in Pokemon history. I mean, a lot of professors have tried to get up to where she is, but unfortunately, nobody comes as close to it as Juniper, in my opinion. You can put Juniper right up there with Oak. That's how good she was. Now we get to the next series, X and Y. And even though I never played these games completely, I played a tiny bit. X and Y was pretty interesting. It was the very first modernized Pokemon game to take advantage of a lot of new mechanics, Mega Evolution being one of them. Exactly. Um, Mega Evolution was a game changer. It allowed you to do a lot more with your Pokemon. It allowed you to make more strategies. Also, another interesting thing about Pokemon X and Y was one of the very first Pokemon games to where essentially, even though we had infinite TMs by this point, it was one of the first games. It was, in my opinion, let me scratch. I'm getting tongue tied here. It was the first Pokemon game to where HMs were completely bye bye. There were no HMs in X and Y. Um, Not a single one. And the gym leaders were really good, really good. It's just the psychic type gym leader. I got a little bummed about that one because back before X and Y released, and Brian may remember this, me and him speculated around that point that we were going to get a dark gym leader. When she was revealed to be a psychic gym leader, I went on a ranting spree. I was so mad. He was so mad. I mean, we completely exploded. Exactly. Yes. So this psychic gym leader, I mean, when I saw her team, I thought I can beat your team so quick you wouldn't even know a thing. And I've never faced her before. I'm hoping to at some point if I get a chance to replay, if I get a chance to play X and Y for the first time ever completely at some point, whenever I get around to it. But other than that little rant, Diantha is the champion. She is a wonderful champion. Wonderful team. Very, very good character. Very good story with her, too. That's pretty much X and Y in a nutshell. I won't go into every single thing. If you want information, you can look it up on your own time. Next up is Sword and Shield. No. Next up is Sun and Moon. Now, Sun and Moon was a little interesting. In my opinion, it was one of the most difficult Pokemon games I've ever played because when you're playing through the game the very first time, you just don't know what's going to happen at all because this was a very unique plot, very unique region. I mean, it was based off of Hawaii, the Alola region. Very good region, but the one thing I thought of when I first saw the game is the region was kind of a small region. It wasn't as big as Kanto, Johto, Hoenn. It wasn't even as big as any other region we have now. It was pretty small. So when I first saw the map, I was a little disappointed, but I still had hope that they would complete the map a little bit more, but they didn't. Um, the challenge to get to the Pokemon League in this games are really interesting. I mean, it's a very unique system that Alola has come up with. I mean, instead of gyms, you have these tribal challenges. And each one of them represents a different Pokemon type, very similar to gym leaders. But you also have to defeat a totem Pokemon in each challenge as well, in order to pretty much get the reward at the end of each challenge. And basically, once you advance through the challenge to get to the Pokemon League, then you're going to face a certain somebody who I'm not going to name. Brian knows exactly who I'm talking about, who meets you at the Pokemon League after you beat the Elite Four. For those who are wondering, exactly, yeah. For those who are wondering who that said champion is, I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to do any spoilers. But other than that, the biggest interesting thing out of Sun and Moon was Lucamy. She had a lot of depth to her character. She had a lot of depth into her story. In my opinion, out of all the female characters I've seen in Pokemon over recent years, she had the most impactful story out of any one of them combined. I mean, there was so much depth to her story involving the Ultra Beasts, and I'm hoping at some point, if Sun and Moon does get a remake, we can get a little bit more story about her. Like, what happens after that, after her final battle. Because we never really got to know much. But anyway, that's pretty much Sun and Moon in a nutshell. Now we get to the fun part, people. Sword and Shield. Now, when I first heard about Sword and Shield's development several years prior, the one thing me and Brian thought immediately is that this is most likely going to connect to X and Y. Because if you didn't know, England, and England is really close to France, highly close to France, and it's highly implied that there may have been a war between the two in the Pokemon universe at some point. The Kalos region and whatever the region X and Y. Oh wait, yeah, X and Y was Kalos. almost slipped my mind there. Need to take a drink for a minute. Wet my whistle. Thank you, Galar. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Okay, so essentially it's implied that there was a war between Kalos and Galar at some point. Okay, all right. Have a good time. Have a good day, Ben. Thanks for coming. Anywho, hold on, people. Let me get the tiling view back up. There we go. Now people can see both of us. Okay, anyway, it was heavily implied that there was a war between Galar and Kalos in the past, but unfortunately the Pokemon Company never confirmed it. But it's implied in rumors and speculation amongst data mines and all that there may have been something, but it's just we don't know. But anywho, Sword and Shield has a really good, interesting story, very good characters. They brought back the original Pokemon League Challenge for this game, but with a little bit of a twist. Instead of you facing the Elite Four, you go through a tournament instead. So that's the interesting little thing they threw in. Other than that, Sword and Shield introduces a mechanic called Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing. Now, for those who don't know, Dynamaxing, the only benefit you get out of Dynamaxing is you get a health bonus a little bit. Gigantamaxing, you not only get the health bonus, but you get a special move as well. Now, any one of your moves can be that special move. It just depends on which one is picked. Other than that, the characters and the gym leaders are really good, very nicely drawn out. Um, other than that, I mean, these are just really good games. There is a team in this game, but they're not technically evil. They're more of a side story type thing. So I'll just leave that where it is and let you all find out there. One other thing I forgot to mention about Sun and Moon, though, I skipped over this, is Team Skull. Now, Team Skull is not a good team either. I mean, their leader is okay, but other than that, they cannot hold a candle to Team Galactic, which I still say Team Galactic is the best team out of all of them. Moving on from the what little I can recall on Sword and Shield, we move to the newest ones, Scarlet and Violet. Now, these two games are really good. I was really impressed by what you can do with these games. It's the very first Pokemon game that's an open world game. You can go anywhere you want. There's no loading screens, nothing. It's really good. Um, the region is called the Paldea region, which is based off of Spain. Which, once again, in the rumor mill, X and Y reference possibly, but we don't know. But anyway, more on Scarlet and Violet. The gym leaders are back once again. The Pokemon League is back. And this time you do get to fight all the Elite Four and a champion. And here's the thing, folks. There is a victory road compared to Sun and Moon. Thankfully. And there's also a victory road in this game compared to Sword and Shield. But anywho, you get to fight many different Pokemon from other regions in the Paldea region. Your character goes to this academy, which when I saw that academy, the first thing that went through my head is Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, because GX was one of my favorite shows of all time. Second, but the first one will always be DM, because, the original is always the best in my opinion. But the academy is really good. They really do teach your character a lot about how Pokemon work, how the region works, this, that, all the other. The mechanic for this region is called terrestrialization, meaning your Pokemon is basically crystallized in a crystal-like armor. Armor Digivolution for the win. I mean, I couldn't help myself, folks, but when I saw the crystallization, Armor Digivolution is what I first thought, because it was rumored like 1 to 2 years before Skarmory's release that we were going to get an armor mechanic of some sort. And this was the armor mechanic that we were waiting for. Now, the thing with terrestrialization is, unlike previous mechanics, you don't get a health bonus, but you do get a special move. A special move pertaining to your Pokemon's type. So that's pretty much translation in a nutshell. We're going to know more about the games once the DLC comes out, because we got DLC coming out in the fall and in the winter, 2 pieces. And we're going to see what happens with those. But other than that, in a nutshell, really good games, really good story, really good characters. And that's really all I can say about that. Other than that, the Pokemon series, in my honest opinion, is one of the best RPG franchises in existence. They make billions of dollars off of it. The only downside is even though the main franchise games get a lot of publicities, the side games, the ones that people don't talk about as much, don't get enough attention. Like, the Pokemon Stadium games, the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, the Pokemon Ranger games, so to speak. I mean, those games I saw little bits and pieces through trailers and articles and stuff over the years, and they're okay. Um, One unique game I want to point out is called Pokemon Ranch. And for those who had a Nintendo Wii back in the day, you could store Pokemon at this ranch. Now, if you stored a certain number of Pokemon in this ranch, you could get a free Mew out of it. So that's one way to get a Mew. Unfortunately, with the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection going, you can no longer do that. So that's pretty much it. But other than that, the Pokemon franchise is a really good franchise, and I would recommend it to anybody. If you're wanting to get into Pokemon, you get in. I would recommend the original games first as like a template to get you trained up to the current games. You start from Red, Blue, and Yellow and work your way up. That's what I did from 1998 up until now. And for those who don't know, my Pokemon career is older than my Yu-Gi-Oh career. I didn't start Yu-Gi-Oh until 2002. I started Yu-Gi-Oh I started Pokemon, sorry, in 1998. So I'm a Pokemon master. Brian's a Pokemon master, and Pokemon was my first good hobby before Yu-Gi-Oh. I will always put Pokemon before Yu-Gi-Oh, even though I love Yu-Gi-Oh to death. But anyway, that is pretty much Pokemon in a nutshell. Um, Before I start to wrap things up here, I just want to make a few brief announcements once again. And you can unmute yourself if you want, Brian. First things first. I don't know when, I don't know where, but I do have plans for August. Like, in the beginning, I did mention that there was going to be a live Linux installation for August. August 10th will be Void Linux. That's the first event. The next event that I'm laying out for August will be the very first Edo Pro Dual Night Plus Open Chat for August. Now, what's going to be different about this one and the one that's going to happen on the 31st is when it comes to hosting matches, people, there will be some normal matches, but say I wanted to put a twist on the match. Like, say I wanted to
define twist.
Say I wanted to both of us to have free spell and trap card zones and free monster zones.
Speed duel, huh?
Well, not exactly. As I'm taking a piece of Speed Duel, but applying it to normal format.
Oh, okay.
Or say, for example, I put a limit on our hand size, and we're only allowed to hold 3 cards in our hand.
Oh, so instead of infinite, the spell infinite cards, just finite cards.
Exactly. Or say, for example, I put a limitation on the life points, and we do it like the anime did 4,000
or two grand
or $2,000. There's going to be some really interesting stipulations I'm going to be throwing out there in the next 2 Edo Pro Dual Nights, the one on the 31st and the one in August.
Well, you know what I'll be doing on the 31st? Cold Steel 2.
Exactly. Yeah, you're just working your way up that mountain.
Yeah. And oh gosh, you know how I'll be when I get to the ending of Cold Steel 4 if I'm in an Edo Pro night.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be falling like.
Can you blame me?
No, I mean I saw the ending myself.
And can I just take a shot in the dark? You were probably thinking, "Oh gosh, I know how Brian was during this."
Yeah,
or is it something like that?
It was something like that because when I saw that, I was thinking to myself, "Is this what that man saw?" Now, other events that I do plan to do is when it comes to Edo Pro Dual Night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, At the last Edible Duna, I did mention about a rush duel implementation, but Austin and Ender brought to my attention that there's not enough cards.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah.
I forget where I was in Cold Steel 2, but I do remember that conversation.
Yeah, there's not enough cards in the rush dueling card pool as of yet. So I decided I'm gonna give it about a year and a half.
So that plan's, as I would put it, it's put on hold for now.
At least until mid late next year, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give the card pool enough time to get more cards, because I mean the rush duel mechanic is only, I think, several months up to a year old by now. I don't remember, but I'm going to give it some time and revisit this in the immediate future. But I did.
What's your plan B, so to speak?
There is a plan B in place.
Or
Now,
do I have to wait until the 31st to find out?
oh no, I'm going to say it right now. Essentially, there is a plan B.
Mhm.
So, besides doing stipulations with hosting matches, excuse me, I did have a thought of doing a complete anime mode at a dual night at some point.
Ooh, so anime mode full time, for so to speak.
At least full time. At least full time. I mean, at least for one Edo Pro Dual Night.
So
I mean,
from beginning to end.
like beginning to end, I'm thinking it won't be late this month because the one on the 31st and the one that's going to be in August are going to be just standard.
And don't forget, I'm going out on August 18th because that's my B day.
I know it's your birthday. I'm aware of that. So I made sure beforehand when it comes to the August Edible Dual Night, it's gonna be sooner, like really early August, the start of August, rather than later in August. Now, when it comes to Edible Dual Nights, people, I do want to point out
In
that
general,
I will still be doing Edible Dual Nights on StreamYard. At least 2, maybe 3.
to an
But
extent.
at least 2 at a minimum, because I'm going to be exploring Jitsi full time as a possible option to make sure we get more people in Edible Dual Nights as much as possible. Because I was talking to the guys, and they brought up a point that like once we hit that 6-person cap, other people are wanting to join. Won't be
Yeah. I mean, even I can't argue with that one.
So I'm making an executive decision as the host of Edo Pro Dual Night that starting with the one on the 31st, we will be experimenting with Jitsi.
Nice.
So it's not going to be difficult. It's just the one thing that I gotta make sure of is to make sure that YouTube can detect the stream key and stuff. Because I mean, if you all noticed, I had a lot of trouble today getting this whole thing scheduled because I didn't know if YouTube was going to detect it. But
Yeah.
it did. It's just I had to. Oh, dude, that's a good play, Matt. Look at that. It's the Ronins and the Scouts.
With a banish zone.
Oh my goodness, that's really good.
I forget what website I ordered this from, but it's custom made.
Yeah, I think you've had it for a while now, right?
Yeah, and also,
Oh,
everyone with their ace.
now that one's a good play, Matt, too. It's every single one. The only one that is not on the mat is the newest one from Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. Now, when it comes to sevens,
And Yusako isn't
and
on here too.
Yusako. Now, I will say, when it comes to Yusako, he is a good duelist in his own
He
right.
is. I'm not gonna lie. In fact, I'm watching Vrains on Tubi right now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll say whether it's the sub or the English
See,
dub.
I'm not gonna lie. It's not him, but it sounds like Dan Green in the dub.
Oh, that plays Yusako?
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Oh no, Playmaker.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to look and see who his voice actor is because it might be somebody we know, but at the same time, it might be a new person. Because
Yeah, it is, but it sounds like the guy who voices Playmaker sounds like Dan Green.
yeah.
Ricky.
He sounds like a Tim.
Oh, you're back then.
Yes, I have some news for you guys.
Oh, okay, what's up?
What's that?
One sec.
Okay.
My LOB box shipped just now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's still not at the USPS office in Modesto yet.
Mhm.
So the shipping label was just generated, so I don't know when it'll get shipped out. But I
I
do at
know how
least
that is.
yeah, it'll be at least a little bit before it actually goes out. But I do have the tracking number, so I can keep an eye on it and whatnot. So.
That's a plus.
Cool.
But
Right.
yeah, it is a booster box. It's not just like a
Yeah.
pack kind of deal. But yeah, so hoping for some good pulls. We'll have to see.
Let me check the live chat here. Oh, Hank B. Hannett. Long time no see, buddy. I haven't seen you in a good amount of years. Welcome to my
Yeah.
live stream, Hank. He
Yeah.
said, hey, all, anyone, I can't see what he said. Anyone like adventure games? Adventure games? I'm not much an adventure game person, Hank. I mean, when it comes to the type of game I like, I've always been a first person shooter person. I mean, I love first person shooters. In fact, my first person shooter, Hank, that I ever played was a little game called Turok.
Oh.
Now, other than Turok, I've also played Quake 2, Battlezone, well, the Activision 1998 remake of Battlezone, the 3D one, not the old one. But I played many shooters. But adventure games, not so much. I mean, when it comes to adventure games, just don't think I've ever played a good adventure game. Because the thing about video games is I can be a little picky at times. It depends on pretty much what the game is. But when it comes to retro games, like games from the games from when me and Brian were kids, like from the 80s up until like the early mid 2000s, that's our jam right there. So but anyway, people, I'm gonna give this at least another 3 minutes, and then we will wrap this whole thing up because I gotta get going. Got stuff to do. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for coming. If you enjoy these live streams just as much as we do, then smash that like button, ring a ding that notification bell, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Just to reiterate, Aero Pro Duel Night on the 31st, and then when it comes to the August one, I will make a final decision on the date at a future channel update. I gotta set a concrete date this way I don't miss anybody.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget, people, July 16th is the live Slackware installation, and on that same day is Ben's birthday. So make sure everybody on that day you say happy birthday to Benny Boy. And for his birthday present, I'm gonna teach him how to install Slackware. So he's excited for that. Also, when it comes to other events, other than the Edinburgh Duel Nights, other than the installations, expect this Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for me to do a Linux coffee house live stream where I will drink coffee, talk to you on the live chat, and go over some news articles. It's my morning news show that you guys can catch every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Also, something I wanna mention before I forget it off the top of my head. Me, Brian, and my buddy Robert. We haven't talked in a while, but we have met. But I believe you all heard me mention a number of years ago that we plan to finish what we call the Yu-Gi-Oh archive. Trust me, people. When I get a chance to talk to him, when Brian gets a chance to talk to him, when we get this thing on out, the Yu-Gi-Oh archive, Arc V, will
And
will be.
actually, I did talk to him, and he said, and I will be taking my zoo odor changers to, Uncle Lenny's Jick. I will,
Mhm.
and in case our audience doesn't know what that stands for, JIC is an acronym which stands for just in case.
Ah, so okay. So what you're saying though is you talked to Robert, and
I forget how long ago, but yeah.
yeah, but well, and plus I know he just moved recently, so just giving him enough time he needs to get settled in, and then we'll revisit the topic.
Then I will get to Horokase.
And here's the thing, people. Brian's been waiting to do a certain thing for a while. I'm not going to spoil what it is.
Oh, you don't know how long. Oh, God.
I
The
mean,
question is, how the heck did they know about the practice round? Oh, wait a minute. I know how. They must have had Batonton spying.
exactly.
That's got to be the only thing I can think of.
But here's the thing, folks. This time, if Wally and his bots try to spy on our stream again, where do we have a little plan for them?
This is when we get to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Reboot.
Oh man,
But-
I'll tell you. You cannot. If you do not agree that that's what Brains is, you probably have not seen that show.
I mean, they clearly took inspiration from it.
I mean, the dual discs look like Guardian Key tools.
Exactly. I mean, if you compare
The dual boards look like zip boards.
Mhm.
And
They
we go link into the brains. It reminds me of
Reboot.
exactly.
But no, basically what I'm saying, folks, is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Archive RP will eventually be released when we can get around to filming it. We're suspecting that this will be a several-hour production because there's a lot about RP we have to fill in there. Especially when we get to the special rant we're going to get to on a certain person, and that Brian knows exactly who I'm referring to.
Oh God! I mean, no. I mean, I know it's not the actor's fault. It's basically the writer's fault.
I mean, when it comes to writing, Arc V was not good at the writing department.
Oh God! Just to give an example, we're talking about Jean-Michel Roger. His voice actor is Darren Dunstan, who voiced Pegasus.
And by the way, he's one of the best voice actors known to man, alongside the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! DM cast. I mean, the DM voice actors, they still do a lot of work today.
Just kiss.
Exactly. But Pegasus is his best character ever. I'll keep saying that.
And
John,
if you want to know what we're going to rant about, you'll just have to wait until then.
But just sit tight, people. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Archive RV is coming eventually. Just be a little patient. It's just me and Brian have to get to a specific point with Robert in order to get everything finalized.
Oh, but this is going to be so beautiful. I cannot wait. I got one rant off my chest, which was the Myrene rant, and it felt so good.
Now the second biggest rant's going to be coming down the pipeline soon.
Don't know when, but oh man, it's going to be so beautiful.
This particular RV character, I'm just going to say it now, folks, we're going to torch this person.
And I'm going to play a certain clip during the video. Why don't you say that when I get back, and I'll play our favorite clip.
Exactly. But here's the thing, folks. I mean, that's just a little teaser, if you will, of what's going to come.
Sneak preview,
A
so to speak.
preview. I mean, this Yu-Gi-Oh! RPG production, we've been pretty much trying to get this thing going for a good number of years now.
But it's been easier said than done to get
Exactly. And just like all the other ones, it'll be most definitely on Hudson Mantu's channel. And shout out to shout out to our buddy Robert. You sir make some good content. Thank you.
You are not wrong. You are not wrong.
But if you do, but if you guys want to, you can go to his channel and check
And
out.
watch the playlist of everything that we've done so far.
Yeah, because we've done DM, we've done TGX, we've done 5Ds,
and the extras, and most of them are multi-parters, if memory serves me correctly.
Exactly, because most of the Yu-Gi-Oh archives have been multi-part archives. Because 9 times out of 10 we miss somebody, and most likely it's going to happen with Arc V because there's a laundry list of characters we have to go through, process, and get information on from Arc V. So,
speaking of which, what are we going to do with Aster, Jack, Crow, and Kite since they're in Arc 5? Since we talked about them already.
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to them, I don't think we're going to say much about them. Only that
just their updated decks.
Just their updated decks, and basically these versions of them are like not the same as the 5D's counterparts. This is like what I call alternate dimension versions of them. Like essentially, like what if they were around when Yusei wasn't there? So that's how I.
Yeah, because I've been meaning to ask you this, and I figured, well, let me do it now while it's on my mind.
Mm-hmm. But anywho, that's coming down the pipeline at some point in the far future.
Just don't know when, as of yet.
Just don't know when, but it's coming. But other than that, that's pretty much all the announcements that need to be said. I think it's as good a time as ever to wrap this thing on up here. Yep. I thank you all so much for watching, so much for coming. But until then, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88 saying, see you later. Have a good rest of your evening, gentlemen, and I will see you for the live Slackware installation. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.